improved my understanding of not only just show business and movies, but of the world and concepts of what goes on this planet.
One would think he would have written his own, you know, I mean, it's like Baz Luhrmann making Strictly Ballroom. I mean, that guy can just fucking make anything after that. And any filmmaker who does that, it's like an unwritten rule. You make a successful film, mate, that's it. You know, you can do anything you like. But not so for Sandy. And maybe that was just a product of the time. I think it says a lot about this country, but it also says something about Sandy as well.
I was put in a position that at 31, like the things that I never thought I'd achieve till I was 51 or so had started to happen. And then with the incredible support of the people that made the picture, it was a success. This put me in a position where it looked like I'm producer, writer, director, star, you know, king ego, which may or may not have been true. And also, it also put me in a position of knowing that's the way to work.
You know, the money people, you know, they're insecure enough about their creative contribution. You know, when they came up against, I guess, his fairly inflexible vision, something had to give. And of course, you know, tragically, we all know that, you know, money kind of is the big ace, you know.
It's always fascinated me that Sandy Harbutt never made another film, because although Stone was a bit of a disappointment, it still had a lot of qualities, and I'd like to have seen him go on and do more things.
I haven't had a penny of investment from the Australian Film Commission, even though they made double their money back. But then again, I haven't been offered one day's work in the entire film and television industry in 25 years by any single human being, except Peter Armstrong, my stunt supervisor, who got me one day's work as a stunt driver for the ABC. And I had to say to him, Peter, I do appreciate it, but stuntmen could probably use the money better than I could. Apart from that, not a day's work. So that was like the response from my fellows. But yet, the audience just won't leave it alone. And they support me. You know, the support is unbelievable. It's always seemed symbolic to me of a working class and a ruling class. And they don't seem to relate. They just don't seem to relate. And Stone is like some sort of symbol of that.
We're here to commemorate the 25th anniversary of the Stone movie.
A shot out of the Stone movie. It's a shot of riding a Z, following a Z up a mountain road. If I'm not out on my bike, if I'm at work, all I've got to do is just have a look at that, and it just reminds me of something that really makes me happy.
Welcome to this week's Cult Movie. I hope you've all enjoyed the documentary Stone Forever, the brainchild of the exceedingly demented and even more exceedingly talented Richard Kuipers. Now it's time to watch the all-time Aussie classic. Forget your getting of wisdoms, forget your my brilliant careers. When I think of 70s Aussie movies, I think of Stone, possibly the best biker movie ever made. Some films have to be seen in the cinema. Some work well enough on TV. But I think the place to really appreciate this film was at the drive-in, where I saw it. Back in those days, when drive-ins used to be full on a Friday and Saturday night, the sign of a good film was measured by the amount of car horns blaring during the good bits. Well, within the first 10 minutes of Stone, the car horn symphony erupted, and you'll see why. The story of the film is simple. A gang of bikers witness an assassination at a political rally, and soon their members are being bumped off. Enter Ken Shorter as Stone, undercover cop, who infiltrates the gang and slowly comes to respect them. All right, it's not Shakespeare. And if the assassin had done such a dodgy job, why didn't his employers have him bumped off and save all the hassle? But then you'd have a pretty short film. The man behind this film is Sandy Harbutt, who not only plays Undertaker, the leader of the gang, the Gravediggers, but he is also the director, producer, production designer, co-writer and lyricist. He obviously had some time on his hands, so why he didn't do the catering, I'll never know. There are so many high points in this film. The bike stunt off the cliff, The realistic depiction of the gang, the funeral procession along the Gosford Expressway, the confrontation with a rival bike gang, which includes members of real groups like the Hells Angels, the Lone Wolf and the Black Hawks. Sure, the film came out in 1974 and some of the dialogue and fashions are dated, but with everything 70s being new again, this is perfect timing for another screening. So, with great pleasure, I say, sit back and take the trip with Stone. It's hard to believe, but when Stone was shown on commercial television years ago, the network screening it cut out the final scene. So when Stone says he wouldn't mind seeing the Gravediggers again, it just cut to the final credits. Nothing like destroying a film and being able to fit more commercials in. Next week, our cult movie is for fans of Chinese ghost stories, and it just happens to be Chinese Ghost Story Part 2. But before that, on Monday night, I'll be screening a very out-there documentary called Lucky People Centre International. Don't ask, I'll tell you all about it then.